Hi, it's Tobin with Mecklenburg County GIS, and this is an introduction to GeoPortal. All you'll need to use GeoPortal is a web connection and the latest version of your preferred web browser. Most browsers these days will keep themselves up to date, but if you use Microsoft's Internet Explorer, you might want to check. The latest version of Internet Explorer for Windows Vista and Windows 7 is Internet Explorer 9, and for Windows XP it is Internet Explorer 8. If you try to use Internet Explorer 6 on a site like this, you will probably have a terrible time. Now, this tutorial will have three parts. We'll go over basic usage, how most people use the site, advanced usage, and then some discussion of the GeoPortal open source project. First, some basic usage. Now, get to the site, it'll look something like this. This is Google Chrome on Ubuntu Linux, and I'm outside the county's network, so you'll see how the site performs on a standard high-speed internet connection. The first thing you're going to want to do is search, and the key to searching is to let the search do the work for you. All works on auto-suggest. We get in part of an address, like 700N, and there's all our potential matches. And it will do some compensation for misspelling. So if you don't know the spelling quite right, it does a sounds like type of search. Now, to pick one of these, all you do is use your mouse to click on it or use the up or down arrow keys to select it and hit enter. Once you do that, it'll zoom to the address, put a marker on the map, and you'll see on the search results on the left, that is now our selected address, 700 North Tryon Street, which is the Hal Marshall Center where I work. Now, once an address is selected, all of these data accordions will become populated with information. And we won't go over all of them just because they change quite frequently and we're always adding data to this site, but just for the basics. Property will include property information like ownership, appraisal, sales history. Services will have solid waste collection days, nearby parks and libraries. Transportation will have nearby CATS bus stops or park and rides. Environment has a whole host of environmental information, water, land, and air. You'll notice for some of these accordions, it will turn on some data layers on the map that's related to the information being shown. Economic development has zoning and permits. Schools will show the home assignment for the current and, if available, the next school year for that address. Voting will have where you go vote and your representatives. And community will have demographic and crime statistic information. And that's basic usage. If that's what you need from GeoPortal, you can probably stop listening now. Now, we'll talk about some advanced usages of GeoPortal, some tips and tricks and how to make the most of the site. Now, the first thing to realize is if you've searched and selected an address before, if you come back to the site, the same browser on the same computer, it'll go straight to that address you last had selected and make that the selected address. So if you see that happening, don't be alarmed. And we don't record that information. It's actually stored on your machine in HTML5 local storage. Now, the search can do a lot more than just looking for addresses. And to see what all I can do at this particular time, click the search help here and you'll see a list. But we've seen how to search for an address. You can search for a place name. Cornelius will find a CATS bus stop, or maybe a park and ride, some geo names, a library, some roads, a school. On those, and I'll show you where that location is. You can also pick a parcel ID, which is an 8-character string. Get that in there and pick that, and it'll go to that location. You can also look for intersections. For example, if you want to find the intersection of Ruth and Dolphin, type in Ruth and hit an ampersand, and there's all the roads Ruth intersects with. We'll pick Dolphin, and I'll show you that location. So there's a lot you can do with the search. When you're searching, if you don't have quite enough information, it'll let you know more information you need for the search. If you can't find what you're looking for, it'll tell you no records found. There are a lot of different ways you can search on GeoPortal. We'll just go back to 700 North Tryon Street. Now let's take a look at the map. We have a number of different base map layers available. This is Google Maps, this is Google Satellite Imagery. MechBase is Mecklenburg's base map. This is all Mecklenburg County data. OSM is OpenStreetMap. OpenStreetMap is a fantastic crowdsourced project that if you haven't heard of before, I would definitely check out. It's a great project. Those are all your base layers. The interacting with the map is done as you might expect. You can click to drag to pan. You can zoom in and out with the scroll wheel on your mouse, or you can pan and zoom in and out with the controls. Up on top for pan and zoom history, you have these two buttons here to zoom previous and zoom next. And you can also, this is tightly integrated with Google Street View. So drag this little fella here, one of these blue areas, and drop them. There's Google Street View. As you turn in Google Street View, you'll see this indicator turn to show which direction the man's facing. And you can go, as you navigate in Google Street View, you'll see this little guy move as well. Just click the X here to close that. In addition, when you move the mouse, you'll see the longitude, latitude coordinates up here on the top right. A measure, start by making a click for a point, a click for another point, you'll have a line, click for 3 points, and you'll have a line and a closed polygon. The information you get there is along that path, you'll get the elevation profile. So if you want to go out for a walk and see how much up and down you're going to be doing, this is a good way to do it. You'll also see up here in the information the area and the length of that line. To clear out the measure, just hit measure again or hit navigate or identify. Now we've seen ways to select properties with the search. You can also do it by clicking with the mouse. Click this identify. If you're zoomed in close enough to see these parcel lines, you can click on it, select that address, and now we've got 701 North Tryon Street as our selected address. We can go back to 700 North Tryon Street. So you can interactively select properties with the mouse. That's interacting with the map. Now we've seen on the tab on the left, interacting with the data tab, some of the elements in here will be interactive. So you can get a bigger view of images if they're available on the property tab. A number of tabs will have, the data will have these types of icons. So locate on the map the nearest park, and if we want directions to it, we can click on this little car. It'll launch directions in Google Maps, and you'll see how to get there. We also have looked at nothing so far but the data tab. The map tab over here will have two different accordions. One will show the map layers, and you can turn these on or off, and some turn on and off automatically. You're looking at the data tabs. We can pick any of those layers. Like here we have the community layers. We change the opacity or ability to see through that layer to what's below it. Also have some special layers here like Panoramio images, where you can see kind of neat images taken by Panoramio in the area you're looking at. And legend will show the legend. So if you can't quite tell what you're looking at, here's where you want to go. Now another thing to note, there are literally tens of millions of records in this system and only a handful of people that maintain them. So if you use the system long enough, you'll see information that is wrong. And we want to know about that, and we want to fix it. So on the bottom of all these data tabs, besides links to more information, you'll see a report a problem. See at the very bottom of the page in the footer as well. So click on that, let us know what the problem is, and we will do our best to resolve it. And that is advanced usage of GeoPortal. A couple other things to note. If you want to print, just use your browser's print functionality. And if you want a narrow map and a long list of data, print in portrait. If you want a big map and a small list of data, print in landscape. Second thing to note, if you have an Android phone or an iPhone, this site works great in the web browsers of those phones. Essentially, the site will detect those phones and reformat itself to be optimized for that mobile experience. If you have a mobile phone, this GeoPortal works great with it. So that's advanced usage. Now about the open source GeoPortal project. We release all the code here as an open source project. We host it on Google Code. Open source essentially means you're free to run the software for any reason. You're free to modify the software. You're free to redistribute the software, and you're free to redistribute any changes you make to the software. So it's an open source project released under an MIT license. If you're a software developer or just interested, please download the code and give it a try. If you see something we could do better, please let us know. Or if you want to participate in the project, please let us know. And that's GeoPortal. This tutorial is for the GeoPortal site, but we have a lot of different sites now based on the same template, and this tutorial should help you with all of them. Thanks for using GeoPortal. I'm Tobin.